ratio and proportion. Some of you probably are familiar with this topic already and probably love it. But anyway, it's a good topic to learn, right? So we're going to see where we go. You see, when you say ratio, you are talking about how when you compare two quantities, right? In the same unit. What that mean? One in a feet, the other in a feet, or one in a meter, the other in a meter, or one in a gram, the other in a gram, so on and so on. But the proportion is when you compare one quantity to the whole population of things. Alright, so for example, let me see now. Suppose you have one class and you have 60 students. Suppose you have, say, 20 boys and 40 girls. No. Boys to girls. There is a ratio. That would be 20 to 40. So remember, use the colon when you compare them. Right? Now, you can cancel this down and say 1 to 2. Alright? So, the ratio of boys to girls is 1 to 2. That's a ratio. Ratio of boys to girls. Now, what you can say about the proportion now. The proportion of boys would that be 20 out of the 60. Use the colon, so 20 out of 60. That would be what? 2 over 6. 1 out of 3. 1 student out of every 3 students is a boy. That's a proportion. And the girls now, you just say 40 out of 60. That would be what? 2 into 4, 2 into 6, 3. 2 out of every 3, or 2/3 are girls. So that's a proportion. What proportion of the population, right? So ratio when you compare the two groups, but the proportion when you compare one group to the whole population. And of course, you're probably familiar with two things: directly proportional, when one increase, the other increase, and one decrease, the other decrease. And then you have inversely proportional, when one increase, the other decrease, or when one decrease, the other increase. But anyway, if you're not familiar with it, go and look up on it later on. And it's a thing you must check out. But anyway, this ratio and proportion thing, good when we have some examples somewhat similar to the type of questions that you'll get in the exam. But these will be less complicated than the kind of questions you'll get in the exam. Now, suppose you have a question. Or say, you have a class of students. You have a class of boys and girls. Now, what it says is that you have 60 students. Now, the thing is, you might say, as a while ago, we do 20 to 40, but we do some, well, make we do it again. If you have 20 boys Then, what is the ratio of boys to girls? The ratio of boys to girls, 20 boys. Now the thing is this. You can say if you have 20 boys, then you have 60 minus 20 girls. That means 40 girls. So the ratio now of boys to girls would have been 20 to 40. Or when you simplify it, it would be 1 to 2. Alright? Ratio of boys to girls. But then, another way the question could have put is this. The question says, ratio of boys to girls in a class is 1 to 2. Now, if you have a total number of students are 60 students in the class, then the thing is, how many are boys? Suppose you have a question like that. You have ratio of boys to girls in a class 1 to 2, and the total number of girls, the total number of students are 60. How many boys you have? Alright. Once you say boys to girls, and then 1 to 2, you go in an order, right? The 1 apply to boys, the 2 apply to girls. Now the same order. Now, you see the 1 to 2 business, what you can do is say number of parts. Total number of parts you have is 1 plus 2. That are 3 parts. It's like you have one line and a 1 to 2, so you have 1 part 1, and then equal part now you have 2. So this would have been the 1 part, and then the 2 part is of course from right here so to right here so. Alright, wait, it's 20 me right? Let me write 25. At 2 it should have been. So that's the 2 part. Alright? So when you add the 1 plus 2 equal 3 parts, it's a similar thing here. You have cut the line in 3 parts. You have 1 part and you have 2 parts. Alright. Now, the whole thing are 60. So what you have to do now is consider say each part going to be 60 divided by the total number of parts. 60 over 3. That's 20. So you have 20 students in each part. Alright? You have 20 students in each part. Now, the question says 1 to 2 boys have the 1 part. So, number of boys would have been 20 times 1. Only 1 bungle of 20. So that would have been 20 boys. You see that? You could have just subtract and get the number of girls, but if you want the number of girls now, since the girls would have been the 2 part, because it said 1 to 2, boys to girls, so girls are the 2 part. I have 20 students in a 1 part, so you'd have 20 times 2, that would have give you 40 girls. So you see that once the thing say you have a ratio of this to this, it's like you have a long line and you cut it up. One part this, the other part that, so you have each, you cut it up in an equal parts. In this case, 1 to 2, so there will be 3 equal parts. You see that? So you cut up this in a 3 equal parts. Then of course, you find how much in each part, and you do a calculation just like this. Now, it's a simple example. You will see as we go through more and more examples, whether from past paper, or from textbook, or from website, or me make it up. It's going to be more complicated than this, but at the same principle you apply when you calculate ratio. Alright? So you see that. Alright, so we're going to take a break right now. I will continue with maths in one different video.